How are you guys doing today?
Doing well. This is Rick.
This is Mark.
Man.
Very good to talk to you.
Well, I'm so happy to talk to you guys because, Rick, I swear this is the first time that you've collaborated, is it not? Because you and I have talked so many times in the past. So, I mean, this is so special for me and my listeners because we're huge fans of what you have brought to the world.
Well, thank you. Yes, it is the first collaboration I've ever done, and I think I started at the top because this has been just a great process.
Mark, what was it like? Because when you start collaborating with other people, that means sharing ideas and relinquishing different thoughts.
Oh, absolutely. And, this is my first time collaborating with anyone as well. And I could not imagine a better collaborative partner. It has been a lot of fun. First of all, as a Percy Jackson fan, to get to see how Percy Jackson books get made. But then also to be given so much creative freedom from Rick, his team at Disney, to add to the canon, to tell a story that I want to tell in a universe that Rick made up. This whole thing was so magical.
What is it like to be inside your imagination, Rick? Because, I mean, what you're doing here, this is a standalone book based on two of the most popular characters of Percy Jackson. You're taking this to a completely different level for readers.
We are. I mean, at least that is certainly the hope, that Nico and Will are some of the most popular characters in Percy Jackson's world. And I think they deserved a novel that was more than I could give for them alone. So I had to open up my imagination and really share that with Mark and see what together we could bring to these characters. And I do think that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. It's a really special novel.
Now, when you talk about Nico and Will, I mean, did you guys take each other's roles? I mean, the roles from these guys and bring it forward?
That's a great question.
Yeah, we haven't been asked that yet.
No, I do think it took us both some time to kind of wrap our minds around what is Nico's voice versus Will's voice.
Yeah.
How are they as a couple? How do they function, especially under pressure? I don't know. What do you think, Mark?
I've personally found writing Nico is easier than writing Will. Part of that was there's just more of him in the series before, and I'd read the books multiple times. And then I also just have a very personal, recognition with this character, so finding his voice was easier. But I don't think it wasn't, I think some people might think that I wrote Nico, you wrote Will. And I think it was more that we wrote them both together and figured them out together.
Did it feel like you guys had a split personality here? Because, I mean, to go into both characters like that, I mean, that really had to gel together somehow.
I think it was more that we have different things that we are good at. Rick is so good at that fast-paced energy, the action and humor, whereas my side is, especially with my young adult and middle grade books, I write very introspective, character-heavy books. And so it was, finding how do you mix those two things? How do we respect both our styles but then create a book that just feels like a weird meld of the two of them?
Yeah. Mark was really, really great about taking Nico and Will's backstory and developing it in such a beautiful, nuanced way that they felt, to me, more real than they had in any previous book. And that was really beautiful to see.
You guys are going out on a speaking tour. This has got to be fantastic for listeners as well as readers because, I mean, to be able to read it on a page is one thing, but then to see you both in person is mind-blowing. That's where dreams start new writers on their journeys.
I mean, that's what we're hoping. I love getting to interact with readers in general, but I also know that so many Percy Jackson fans have been waiting for a Nico book for so long.
Yep.
So we're just happy to be in the same room with them and very, very excited about Solangelo. Very, very much supporting this.
Yeah, there really is an air of celebration, and I think this tour is going to be really important and special. I can't wait to get back out there.
A story about first love. Young adults love this kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that they pass forward.
They do, and there's an interesting spin on that, actually, that Mark just pointed out to me today. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think it is very common in young adult, and sometimes in middle grade too, where we talk about how characters get together. There's the meet cute, how do they meet, how do they fall in love. Especially in recent years, young adult books are capturing the breakup, what happens after a relationship ends. But what we really tried to capture was, they're already in a relationship at the start of this book. How do you maintain it? What is required to stay with someone, especially when you're in Tartarus, of all, like literally the worst place for anything to be transpiring, period. But I really think we enjoyed exploring the idea that relationships are work, and how do you learn to empathize with another person and understand where they're coming from.
This collaboration between the two of you, was it on the golf course? Was it at a business meeting over a conference table? Because you guys really do communicate. It's like you're friends from a different generation.
Yeah. It was all virtual, weirdly, all through email, a couple Zoom calls. Our editor, Steph Lurie, helped facilitate this. There was a lot of conversations in the notes of Microsoft Word as we're like sending notes back and forth.
Do you foresee this going onto Disney Plus? Because, I mean, come on. What your words and the magic you put on a page are just unbelievable.
Well, thank you. I mean, we're in the process of getting the original Percy Jackson series on Disney Plus as a TV show, and I think what happens next will really depend on how that's received, how the fans love it. I hope they will. I think they will. But so who knows? I mean, maybe someday we'll be talking about this going to TV first, but we'll have to wait and see.
I'm blessed with the opportunity to go to a lot of middle schools and high schools, and I love it while I'm in their class, I'll see one of your books on either in their book bag or I'll see it on their desk. How do you react when you see your work of art in somebody else's hands?
I just spent a week doing visits in middle schools and high schools in New York City, where some of these kids read my book multiple times.
Yes.
It never stops being surreal. It never stops being an amazing thing, particularly because growing up, I don't think we read very many modern authors, and certainly none that came to visit us. And I know both of us, we do want to inspire young people to not just read, but to consider, pursuing art as a career. So I love any opportunity to show them, like, this is what a successful author looks like. You can do it too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing to have a conversation with readers and to show readers that writers are just people, and some of them are actually still alive. That's something I never knew when I was in middle school. I assumed they were all just dead from the 1800s.
So then you guys are open on the idea that these little neighborhood library boxes or homes that they have where people can just share the book, that's okay with you guys then?
Oh, I love
Absolutely.
that. I love those.
We love our libraries. We constantly are telling people, that is a great resource. And I know especially for young people, maybe they can't afford a book. The library is such a great place where you don't have to spend money and you can, experience these wonderful stories.
Absolutely.
Rick, you picked a good guy to team up with. My God. Oh, my God. I'm blessed with the opportunity to talk with a lot of the people that you support, Rick, but this guy right here, you picked a good one.
Well, I think so, too. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Please come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Thanks, Sarah. It was great talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Be brilliant, you guys.